I think mainly around the business models and other areas that MVNOs can benefit from. We've heard some great stories this morning. The last one we had to rush through Nicholas's presentation on Freedom Pop. There was a freemium model that's actually working in the European market. It'll be interesting to see if it ever transfers to this market. But let's move on a little bit now and we'll talk about how MVNOs can expand their core business model and enter that IoT space. It has been mentioned a few times by MVNO representatives here that they're going into the IoT space. But how can we actually move into IoT and make money out of it? And to tell us how that's going to be done is Daniel Chun, who is the General Manager of Remote Tech and also a board member for the Smart City Consortium in Hong Kong. Daniel, welcome.
Thank you, Tony. Great to be here. Hope everybody can actually come back because we have a great session today, and then I actually brought some gifts for you guys at the end of the session. So without further ado, I would like to speak about the topic. The topic is about, first of all, IoT space, and also about how mobile virtual network operator can actually perhaps think about what's beyond today's service offering. So I came from a background of a company which is in IoT smart controller space. It's an electronics company. My personal background comes from telecom. I'm also a board member of Smart City Consortium in Hong Kong and also executive committee for Hong Kong Electronics and Technology Association. So within my assets is a lot of solutions company, IoT companies that would like to find different markets. Yeah. So we've actually launched a product, soft launched a product, which we would like to invite all the MVNOs to partner with us. And the product comes from a company that had 28 years of experience in remote controllers. I won't go into detail, but a lot of our customers are actually great names. We have over 50% market share worldwide for what you see in perhaps Best Buy or Radio Shack in what we call universal remote controllers. Now, if some of you are staying in this hotel today, you probably found within our hotel rooms there are a handset being offered, but there's also two other remote controllers. So we are talking about remote controllers that today are being populated in the households, in our offices, and in particular where offices have a lot of split type air conditioners or ceiling cassette air conditioners. So we have a lot of customers, and this is just a brief about my background. I came from a company called Hutchison Mobile Data 27 years ago as the head programmer. And that was before even Windows 3.1 came into space. So I was developing apps and native apps as well. And I run Iridium in Asia, and this is when I get to know a lot of the Asian operators, and I subsequently moved to Taiwan to work for Taiwan Mobile. So I was invited to come to speak today because I did a similar speech at GSMA event last year, and the topic was about smart device, beyond today's mobile. What are the innovations? And I thought I would share with you that a lot of hardware devices, like Tesla today, it's hardware. But is it really just the hardware, or is it a business model? Does anyone own a Tesla here? No? Well, not many guys, but in Hong Kong, it happens to be the top-selling luxury sedan for last year. Okay, so it disrupted the market. Obviously, there's a tax incentive, that makes it, very good selling. But behind the scene is a business model. All hardware have some form of business model. In those days, hardware innovations just about selling hardware. We all know about, this is an industry that we don't know much about, right? And same as this, right? This is kind of consumer electronics. But think about the electric car that I just mentioned, the Tesla. Tesla today comes with a business model behind the scenes, there are superchargers, there are batteries, there are replacement, there are services. It's a business model. But it's not the first car, electric car that comes into the market. So in my presentation, I would like to emphasize that there's hardware innovation, there's also application innovation that perhaps you can solve a problem and then create value for your customers. So Tesla, like I said, is one of the top-selling brand of car, but it's not the first electric vehicle in the market. The first one is actually General Electric vehicle, which is mass-produced 1992, but they didn't have the business model. Battery was not ready. Okay, they didn't have chargers model. They didn't understand the business as it is. Okay, but Tesla had a plan, but they didn't have the ecosystem yet. Still, okay. So we all came from, probably have some experience about this era. Apple Newton came in around circa 1993. That was when I was actually also heading programming at a mobile data network in Hutchinson, Hong Kong. They didn't have an ecosystem. Who create those apps in this product here, right? There's no business model. So they have to create their own apps, right? This was a challenge. That's why it's not ready. The data bandwidth is not ready. This probably is wired with a 2.4 kbps modem. So that was back then, right? Not all of these are ready. So hardware innovation really takes time, yeah. And I believe today, with all these devices out there, there's a huge attached value that a lot of operators, a lot of MVNO has not really cleaned. Okay. How many of you actually have spare phones and spare tablets? I know you all are mobile executives, you might have more than others, but think of your friends. Do they have spare tablets and spare phones at home? Yeah? You think there is? Absolutely, right? And some of them actually have few home. So, I was invited to deliberate on this topic about what is the most interesting IoT product right now. What are the benefits in terms of ARPU, sales of SIM cards, and perhaps future landscape of big data? And what about loyalty and the profile? Are they interested, to an MVNO? So, as an electronics manufacturer in this space, we actually get sometimes invitations on tenders, on projects, RFPs. Yeah, even the largest search engine in the world actually have called for our products. I'll deliberate on that as well. Okay, so we've seen a lot of these voice-activated ecosystem trying to build, gain access to the home. Amazon, Echo, Google Wi-Fi. There are Apple TVs. There's also Chromecast and Roku. Many of these, right? So in this space of where we call it human control interface, CI, or there's voice. There's a remote. I'm using a remote right here. And of course, there is our cell phones that is attached to my cell, right? This trend is very clear that for the next 3 or 4 years, there's a lot of companies want to have this space. Xiaomi also tried to make this space. We turned down the contract, an RFP from Xiaomi, because we believe that our IP should be valued. Okay, I won't disclose the reason why, but they tried to get into also the home space, but we didn't think that our IP should be valued, for example. But we did support a lot of other kind of entrepreneurs that want to get into this space. These are some of the references. There are German VC-funded company that runs out with a thermostat or a smart devices. There are a network company, a router company that make an attempt into this space. There's also purely apps-driven players, which is like Sure Universal from Israel. They have the largest download in terms of a remote control app for Android. For those phones that actually have an infrared blasters, right? So this space is actually increasingly obvious. If you go to JD.com, you go to all these other e-malls or even crowdfunding platform, you'll find some entrepreneurs thinking that they can disrupt the world and trying to build it. But sadly, they are a startup. Their products are not proven. There could be lots of bugs, and they still couldn't find their market because they don't have customers like you do. Okay? You guys have the best access to all these customers, and maybe reach a little bit higher, further, and then you can actually outperform. Now, so I'm going to now bring to the questions of what I think is there are two pain points in the industry. First, there's quite a lot of handsets out there, smart enough, stable enough. Okay, so operators and different companies try to capture this value. They sell another iPhone 8. What do you do with the iPhone 6? Either you trade it in or you find a way to dispose it. And so there are many handsets being circulated. So there's one problem about how many e-waste are there, digital waste around us. Okay. So as part of the ecosystem, I think that I'm advocating the fact that you're part of it, of the ecosystem. You could promote the sustainable use of this device. So if someone has a spare tablet, spare phones, that could maybe your customer or maybe someone else's customers, but you could still gain from this huge attached value. So reuse is what I'm proposing, or repurposing it. Now, according to these three organizations here, which is Recycle Myself, Mobile Muster from Australia, and Fairphone Review, over 48%, or up to even 60% in Australia, that someone would have a spare smartphone. And that's not including the tablets. Huge attached value. And the purpose of reuse, obviously, is to give it a second life and to be able to create value for you and for your customer. So we have this circular economy. The notion of circular economy comes in. And to reuse, if you have the second handset, if they buy a new handset, or they may not be buying from you because MVNO, it's not in a position to subsidize handset, but they might buy it off market anyway. So the next pain point I want to kind of build in is the application side. Now around the world, the seas are rising, and global warming is real. And in Hong Kong, I can share with you that the problem is even worse. In a lot of cities, because of the built environment, the island effect, you cannot really escape the high intensity heat, right? And that case is worsened when you have problem of all these air conditioners out there, high installed base of air conditioners. You go to any cities, right, where there are older buildings, you will find a picture like that looks like this. Now, this is actually statistics from Hong Kong. Okay. Now, besides my vested interest in my own business, I actually donate my time to lobbying the government on how to run green things, right, how to be sustainable. Okay, so 34% of the electricity in Hong Kong is actually consumed in air conditioning. Now, so if you go to the streets, in Mong Kok and Kwun Tong, and for those of you that happen to be there, you'd be alarmed at the type of air conditioners out here. And so this is actually proven through data that our observatory, our weather bureau, have actually shown you that it is increasing our temperature, and no one is actually doing anything. And Hong Kong is part of this C40 summit. A lot of our representatives from cities that also have pledged on this how to control the climate. So we believe that with this problem, 34% of electricity being consumed in air conditioning alone, can we build it as a business model? I think so. I came from a telecom world. I think I can solve a problem by building the business, co-creating with you guys, that perhaps we can offer a value proposition, but also can have something that you can build as a monthly service. So 85% of the buildings in Hong Kong is actually 10 years or more. So all these new building with central heating and air conditioning is not our target. Some of the city problems are still big. So my company's solutions have created solutions that have won a couple of awards, including the Institution of Engineers Award, which we have outbeat some of the bigger competitors, including the utility company in Hong Kong and also MTR, because we have a very clear, defined path of where we want to go, and partnering with our MVNOs. So my vision is to have a roadmap of products that we could today work together as a program and validate the market, and then I can adapt and have branding opportunity and scaling opportunities so that you can also increase your ARPU and monthly service fees. So the product is actually right now in soft launch. It's ready, and at the end of the session, I'll be gladly happy to give you one sample copy. So let me explain clearly what it does. We have the core competence and the IP of covering 95% of most of the major brands' remotes, IR remotes. And these are the things that those other companies that I've supported are smart enough not to reinvent the wheel, because we've been doing it for 28 years. So in effect, in essence, what my value proposition here is, it's a device where you can load an app in a spare smartphone or tablet, and it works as a host gateway. And you have, your personal mobile. You can actually bring it outside. You can actually smartly program it, control it, etc. So the scenario can work very well. It's one to many. You can control many devices, many of these. This white modem, I call it modem. So it could be suitable for retailers, warehouse, home scenarios, and it controls not just air conditioning, but also fans and TVs and set-top box. So that's the kind of use case that we're looking at. So mobile, client, and the host, and then it uses Bluetooth to connect to that modem, and then it beams your end device, your appliance, through. And because of this, you basically you don't have to set the temperature to be too cold. You can have sleep profile, you can have lunch profile where you switch it off or turn it down, and that saves electricity. Right? Our value proposition is not just that, but also on the fact that we can actually offer comfort, convenience, and control. So these are the awards that we won, and we will have a roadmap of different products that suits our scenario. So this is just a list of how we do things. I have a team of engineers in Shenzhen where their whole job for the last 25 years is to buy the world's remotes and reverse engineer everything. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? It's the same as how Google will have a car, drives around the whole world and map all this metadata. But that's IP. We create value along the value chain. Now, this is just a dashboard to show you that this could be your dashboard. This could be your apps, for example, that you can then program, control. It becomes smart control as a service that you can skin under your platform through API. And then there are data. There are significant amount of data because you know the brand, you know the consumption, yeah, and then you know how they use it. That gives you stickiness, a large amount of stickiness beyond your mobile, beyond the sales of SIM card. So that's a huge value attached to it that I want to show you that. This is, for example, in our office, and at 9:55 we had a meeting. We switch it on, it comes down, and we switch off again automatically after the meeting. So it becomes a smart control value proposition for office, for retailers. If you target SMB, that could be a great solution. So, sorry, I'm almost done here, and I have a little video to show. So my call to action today is, I'm ready to run a co-creation partner program with all the MVNOs here, and with a small investment, which I call for about $5,000 we're ready to commit resources to validate the market, understand the requirement, and then co-create what is to come for launch of such a service. So I will urge some of you that are interested, perhaps directly get in touch with me, I am offering a free sample for each participant. So whether you're interested or not, you can still try to give us feedback. It runs very stable in iOS and in Android. Right now, we're still debugging different handsets. But this is a great offer. It has an attached value of $69 US. With consumer mass quantity, we'll bring down the price together. It becomes a smart control as a service. So I have a little video that to show you. It's not for energy management, but it's kind of give you the idea that how it can work. Yeah, can you please? Some samples for us.
热啊，去哪儿？
翻屋企嚟冷氣，
外面这么热，回家也要时间啊，
而家開定冷氣先咪得咯。
可以吗？
Okay, so thank you. I mean, there's many use cases. This is just one of them, and it helped to address to certain market that is target of customers. So thank you very much. So please welcome to pick a piece before we start the panel, I believe, right? Please feel free.
Well, we'll pick it on the way up.
Pick on the way up. Thank you, Colleen.
Thanks, Alan. If they all get up now, they'll never come back. So all the way up. I know these people very well. Don't worry, if it's for free, I'll take it. It'll be gone. Okay. Wow. If I get one of those things, does the girl come with it?